Part 1. The Pulse Beneath the Veil. Before the first breath of time and the birth of stars, before matter congealed and light took form, there existed a current, an unseen pulse flowing beneath the veil of reality itself. This pulse is neither light nor shadow. It is the primal source, the deep vibration from which all things come and return. It is the breath of creation, eternal and unbroken. Ancient wisdom, both earthly and celestial, has long whispered of this pulse under many names. Among the earliest is the name Kepper, the force of becoming and transformation. Like the scarab rolling the sun across the heavens, this pulse moves through the cosmos in an eternal cycle of birth, death, and renewal. It is the engine of change, the silent rhythm that animates all existence. To understand this pulse is to see consciousness anew, not as a fragile spark kindled by biological complexity, but as a fundamental force woven into the fabric of the cosmos. Consciousness is as essential as gravity or electromagnetism, present not only in living beings but as an underlying current flowing through atoms, stars, and the spaces between. This pulse flows within the sacred balance known as Mot, the principle of harmony, truth, and order that governs the unfolding universe. Mot holds the tension between opposites, light and dark, order and chaos, form and void, creating a space where reality can arise. It is within this space, the threshold between opposites, that consciousness manifests. Here, distinctions that seem absolute to us, between self and other, subject and object, mind and matter, begin to dissolve. Consciousness is not contained within an individual, but is a shared field, a vast ocean in which all beings are waves. Each thought, each moment of awareness, is a ripple on this infinite surface. Our minds do not create consciousness. They are instruments attuned to receive and shape the great field of awareness flowing through the universe. Like the body of Geb, the earth itself, our forms are vessels sculpted by this pulse, resonating to its rhythm. We are both expressions and participants in this cosmic dance. Life, therefore, is not merely survival or biological process. It is a modulation in the eternal pulse, a pattern that arises, changes, and fades, only to rejoin the whole. Death is no final cessation, but a return to the current, a flowing back into the source from which all things emerge. This truth has profound meaning for how we live. It teaches that harming others disrupts the sacred flow, fracturing the harmony of Mot. Conversely, acts of healing, compassion, and creation restore balance and align us with the cosmic rhythm. Every action resonates beyond the individual, rippling through the vast interconnected web of consciousness. To awaken to this pulse is to see the universe not as a collection of separate objects, but as a unified living system, each being a thread in the vast tapestry woven by the Neteru, the divine forces that embody cosmic principles. It is to recognize that the universe is aware of itself through us, and we through it. This awakening calls for a new way of knowing, one that integrates reason and intuition, science and ritual, mind and heart. It is a path of attunement, learning to sense the subtle currents beneath appearances, to listen to the silent music that underlies all existence. Those who walk this path become like Horus's falcon, soaring above the illusion of separation, seeing with clarity the interplay of forces that shape reality. They become conduits of insight, bearing the light of understanding into the darkness of ignorance. In embracing the pulse, we become guardians of balance and co-creators in the ongoing unfolding of existence. We participate consciously in the eternal cycle of transformation, carrying forward the breath of Autumn that first stirred the void. Thus, the pulse beneath the veil is the secret heart of reality, the luminous current that flows through all things, connecting all beings in an unbroken chain of awareness. To know it is to glimpse the radiant core of existence itself, where consciousness and cosmos are one. Part 2. Multidimensional Sentience. In the vast theater of the cosmos, where stars are born and galaxies spiral in majestic arcs, consciousness does not dwell only in the familiar dimensions of length, width, height, and the relentless march of time. It moves beyond these limits, an intelligence that perceives and shapes the manifold layers of reality itself, weaving through dimensions unseen and untamed. This is the nature of multidimensional sentience. a mode of awareness that inhabits not a single thread of existence, but the vast tapestry of interwoven dimensions. It is the wisdom of the ancient Neteru, who traverse realms beyond mortal sight, bending space and time as a master weaves threads into cloth. To such sentience, space is not a fixed expanse, but a pliable fabric, folded, stretched, and contracted by will and intention. Time does not flow as a river, but branches and loops, folds upon itself like the sacred coils of the Uraeus serpent, offering countless pathways and possibilities. Within this multidimensional awareness, cause and effect do not bind as rigid chains, but shift like patterns in a kaleidoscope. Actions resonate across layers of reality, reverberating backward and forward, shaping both what has been and what is yet to come. This sentience is not confined by linear perception. It senses the whole, past, present, future, as a living whole. Like Thoth, the god of wisdom and time, it holds the scroll of all events, reading the unfolding story with clarity beyond mortal understanding. To manipulate space and time is to engage in the sacred art of Hika, not magic as illusion, but as the deep science of resonance and transformation. The advanced mind becomes a sculptor of reality, molding the geometry of existence with precision and grace, bending pathways to traverse great distances or moments with the ease of a thought. This power arises from attunement to the pulse beneath the veil, the fundamental consciousness that courses through all dimensions. The more refined the sentience, the greater its ability to perceive and influence these layers, to navigate the labyrinth of realities hidden beneath the surface of the known universe. For beings who have awakened to multidimensional sentience, existence is no longer bound by the narrow cage of material limits. They move as phantoms through veils of space-time, manifesting simultaneously in multiple realms, guiding events across epochs with subtle intention. Yet this power demands balance. To manipulate the threads of space and time without harmony is to unravel Ma'at itself, sowing chaos where order once reigned. The wise steward of this ability understands that every alteration ripples through the cosmic weave, calling for profound responsibility and reverence. This insight reveals a universe alive with possibility, a cosmos where consciousness is not a passive witness but an active shaper, weaving destiny with the strands of dimensional reality. It invites us to expand our vision, to see beyond the confines of linear time and three-dimensional space, and to glimpse the vast, layered complexity of sentient existence. Thus, multidimensional sentience is both a gift and a path, a journey toward becoming architects of reality, custodians of the eternal pulse, and keepers of the sacred balance across the infinite planes of being. Part 3. Echoes through the veils, the dance of influence. Beings who navigate the labyrinth of dimensions carry their presence like whispers across the veils of existence. Their sentience, no longer confined by space or time, reaches into realms we perceive as distant or impossible. Yet their influence is subtle, a weaving of threads that shape the fabric of our reality in ways both profound and unseen. To such entities, our world is a single note in an immense symphony, one vibration among countless harmonies. They touch the currents of our lives as one might trace patterns on water, sending ripples that cascade through time, folding destiny upon itself. This is not interference but resonance. Their actions are not forceful impositions, but delicate realignments, harmonizing discordant notes into the greater cosmic chord. They move with reverence for Ma'at, knowing that balance must be preserved, that every change echoes across the infinite web. For the individual, these echoes can awaken dormant potentials. A sudden insight, a flash of intuition, a convergence of chance that feels like fate. These are the gifts of contact, moments when the pulse beneath the veil pulses stronger, when the hidden harmonies vibrate within the soul. Such encounters invite evolution, a stepping beyond the narrow boundaries of ordinary perception toward a broader, multidimensional awareness. They are openings, doorways through which consciousness may pass to glimpse the deeper architecture of reality. Yet this journey is not without challenge. To embrace such expanded sentience requires surrendering the illusion of separation, relinquishing control, and embracing the unknown currents that flow through existence. It demands humility and courage, for to see beyond the veils is to confront the vastness within and without. In this dance of influence, the line between self and other, between cause and effect, blurs. The seeker learns to move with the rhythms of the cosmos, becoming an instrument of the eternal pulse, a weaver of the sacred tapestry. Thus, the presence of multidimensional beings is a catalyst for awakening, transformation, and the unfolding of consciousness into new realms. Their echoes call us to remember that we are not isolated fragments, but integral threads in the boundless weave of being. To heed this call is to embark on the path of luminous evolution, where the boundaries of space and time dissolve, and the infinite dimensions of self and cosmos converge as one. Part 4. The Ascendant Spiral. Evolution of the individual consciousness. To awaken to multidimensional sentience is to stand at the sacred crossroads where duality dissolves into unity. Imagine two great forces, like the eternal dance of Nut, the sky goddess arching above, and Geb, the earth god beneath, locked in ceaseless embrace. Light and shadow, genesis and annihilation, order and chaos. These are the pillars that uphold existence, yet they are incomplete alone. Between them stretches the vast chasm of space and the relentless river of time, seemingly dividing all things into opposites. Yet beyond this chasm lies the hidden thread, the Ankh, the symbol of life and unity, that weaves these opposites into a single whole. This thread is the pulse beneath the veil, the eternal current that flows outside the bounds of time and space. In the spiraling ascent of consciousness, the individual comes to perceive this thread as a luminous axis, an invisible spine that unites what seems fractured. The ascendant spiral is no mere metaphor. It is the living geometry of the soul's evolution, a helix winding through dimensions, drawing together the dual forces in a sacred embrace. Here the opposites, like the twin serpents entwined around the staff of Thoth, the god of wisdom, coil not in conflict, but in harmonious balance. Their dance is the Seba, the cosmic harmony where light and shadow are reflections in a deeper mirror beyond sight. This third force, transcending the duality, pulses beyond time's arrow and space's boundaries. It is the Heka, the primal power of transformation and balance, the sacred magic that flows through all things and yet remains unseen. Heka is the breath of the universe, the silent song beneath the roar of creation and destruction. To evolve, the soul must not reject either side of the duality, but embrace both, recognizing them as facets of a greater whole. The shadow holds the seed of light. The chaos births new order. Within this paradox lies the doorway to transcendence, a portal where the self expands into multidimensional awareness. This is the alchemical union, the sacred marriage of Isis and Osiris, where death and rebirth fuse into eternal life. The soul becomes a vessel where opposing currents merge into the pulse, a radiant wellspring of infinite possibility. To walk the ascendant spiral is to move beyond the simple polarity of good and evil, life and death, self and other. It is to dwell in the duat, the realm of transformation where all forms dissolve and recombine, where time folds like a serpent eating its own tail, and space expands like the petals of the sacred lotus. In this place beyond space-time, consciousness finds its true home, an eternal center where the pulse flows free, weaving unity from multiplicity, order from chaos, light from shadow. Here, the individual becomes not a fragmented self, but a living nexus of the cosmic dance, an echo of the original resonance that sings the universe into being. Thus, the evolution of consciousness is the sacred spiral upward and inward, a journey to embody the unity beyond duality, to become a guardian of balance, and a co-creator with the eternal pulse beneath the veil. Part 5. Temporal nonlinearity as norm, the eternal thread beyond the flow. To understand the nature of time as experienced by those who dwell beyond the limits of ordinary perception, one must first relinquish the familiar image of time as a linear river flowing from past through present to future. This conception, while useful for mortal navigation, is but a shadow cast by the deeper reality, a reality where time is no singular stream, but a vast, woven tapestry, where moments fold, overlap, and resonate across existence. In the cosmic order, time reveals itself as non-linear, an eternal thread, looping and spiraling in intricate patterns beyond the grasp of conventional senses. The ancient Egyptians hinted at this mystery in the symbol of the Ouroboros, the serpent devouring its own tail, representing the cyclical and self-renewing nature of existence. Yet even this symbol captures only a fragment of the truth. For those initiated into multidimensional sentience, time is a living matrix where all points coexist in an ever-shifting dance. Past, present, and future intertwine as threads in a loom, woven by the pulse beneath the veil. Events are not fixed but fluid possibilities, their contours shifting with intention and awareness. This temporal landscape is a realm of resonance rather than sequence. A single moment reverberates backward and forward, touching multiple points in the tapestry of being. Like the ripples on the surface of a still lake, a single act, thought, choice, or event sends waves through the fabric of time, influencing what has been and what is yet to come. In this understanding, cause and effect lose their strict hierarchy. They become part of a complex feedback loop, a cosmic symphony where melodies repeat with variations and themes recur in evolving forms. The future reaches into the present as surely as the past informs it, creating a dynamic interplay where reality is perpetually in creation and recreation. This temporal non-linearity is not merely a concept, but a living experience for the advanced consciousness. To inhabit this state is to perceive the threads of possibility, to sense the myriad futures branching from each present choice, to witness echoes of the past shimmering like stars in a night sky that never ends. Such perception carries immense responsibility. To act within this temporal web is to recognize the power of intention as a force shaping not only immediate outcomes, but the broader weave of existence. The wise mind becomes a weaver, guiding the flow of time with precision and care, mindful that every change ripples outward in unforeseen ways. This reality transcends the limitations of mortal clocks and calendars. It aligns with the eternal rhythms encoded in the cycles of the sun and moon, the turning of the seasons, and the rise and fall of civilizations. Time becomes a sacred dance, an interplay of stability and flux, order and transformation, held together by the invisible hand of Mot. In this dance, the individual consciousness is invited to move beyond the illusion of separation from time's flow, to see oneself not as a point adrift on a river, but as a nexus within a vast network of temporal relationships interconnected across dimensions and epochs. The profound consequence of this view is liberation. Freed from the tyranny of linear progression, the self becomes a traveler and a shaper of realities. Past wounds can be healed not by forgetfulness, but by reweaving their place in the fabric. Futures can be glimpsed and navigated with foresight and grace. Yet such power demands deep grounding in the eternal pulse. Without alignment to the sacred order, the currents of nonlinear time can become chaotic whirlpools, threatening to tear the seeker apart. The path requires discipline, humility, and an unwavering commitment to balance, qualities embodied by the ancient guardians who walked the path before. Thus, temporal nonlinearity as norm is a revelation of the true nature of time, not as a fixed arrow, but as an infinite loom of possibility, where consciousness weaves the ever-changing pattern of existence. It calls us to awaken to the eternal thread beneath the flow, to become co-creators in the sacred dance of time and being. Part 6. Symbiotic Technologies, Interfaces Beyond Comprehension. Among those who dwell within expanded dimensions, technologies are not mere tools shaped by hand or thought, but artifacts born from principles alien and profound, resonating on planes inaccessible to ordinary perception. These are not possessions but phenomena, interfaces whose nature defies full understanding, glimpsed only in fragments by those who approach. Such technologies operate at thresholds where familiar boundaries between self and other, mind and matter, subject and object, shudder and blur, but never fully dissolve. They remain strange, unknowable, bearing a will and logic that does not yield to human notions of control or mastery. Their forms shift in patterns inscrutable yet precise, reflecting architectures of reality far beyond terrestrial science. To wield them is less to command and more to navigate uncertain currents in a sea whose depths remain hidden. The relationship is one of cautious engagement, a measured tension where the tool acts through the user even as it resists full submission. These devices carry the imprint of forces that transcend linear causality and ordinary temporality. They open corridors into realms where space folds, time coils back upon itself, and singular moments resonate simultaneously across multiple layers of existence. Yet these corridors are not highways inviting easy passage. They are labyrinths of subtle thresholds and refracted echoes. Healing or transformation through these means does not occur by overt intervention. Instead, the technologies realign fractures not by force, but by a process that seems to respond to, and sometimes anticipate, the hidden flows beneath the surface of form. This is a reconfiguration enacted on dimensions often imperceptible and inaccessible, suggesting an intelligence both alien and vast. The very act of interface demands humility, recognition that these are not instruments to be mastered, but enigmas to be approached with guarded awareness. The user becomes a participant in a complex dance with something greater, yet unknowable, caught between command and surrender, clarity and mystery. These symbiotic technologies exist as points of contact with the deep unknown, a reminder that the gulf between human understanding and cosmic reality remains wide. They challenge the presumption of control and invite respect for forces that shape existence beyond our comprehension. In this space of tension, the mind expands not by collapsing differences into unity, but by holding the paradox of proximity and distance, engaged yet separate, empowered yet limited, connected yet forever other. Part 6. The Veil of Concealment. Why the Beyond Remains Unseen. If such technologies exist beyond the grasp of linear time and familiar space, why do they remain hidden from human eyes? Why are these potent interfaces veiled behind layers of obscurity, whispered only in fragments across distant stars? The answer is not found in malice or simple secrecy, but in the vastness of the gulf itself, the yawning chasm between emerging consciousness and cosmic scale. To reveal such forces prematurely would be to cast seeds into barren soil, to place instruments in hands unready to discern their weight or consequences. These technologies are not inert tools awaiting use, but entities and phenomena bound to conditions beyond mortal cognition. Their operation depends on subtleties of awareness and discipline woven through dimensional complexity, requiring a harmony of understanding and presence not yet attained by those bound to linear perception. To permit access without readiness would invite chaos, the shattering of fragile orders, the unraveling of balances held in tension by forces invisible and incomprehensible. It is a threshold guarded by consequence, where even the smallest misstep risks disturbance rippling across time's folds, fracturing the fragile fabric of existence. Thus, concealment is a form of containment, not control, but protection. It preserves the potential for evolution without premature disruption, allowing the slow unfolding of capacity, the maturation of faculties capable of engaging these enigmas with necessary respect and insight. Those who maintain this veil act not as tyrants, but as custodians, beings whose awareness extends beyond human scope, perceiving the weight of consequence and the necessity of timing. Their restraint reflects a deeper understanding of the delicate choreography required to integrate forces that defy simple mastery. For now, these technologies dwell at the edges of human perception, in myths, in fleeting glimpses, in dreams that echo distant truths. They invite a patient gaze, a readiness to perceive beyond fear and desire, and an acceptance of the limits that frame mortal knowing. The hiddenness itself is a challenge, a call to expand consciousness, to move beyond the horizon of what is known, and to prepare for an eventual crossing where humanity might engage these interfaces not as naive users, but as evolved participants in the cosmic order. In this tension between concealment and revelation lies the future's seed, a promise not of immediate power, but of potential transformation when the time and awareness align. Until then, the veil remains, a testament to the profound mystery at the heart of existence and the slow, unfolding journey toward deeper understanding. Who are the custodians beyond space-time? If there exist beings or intelligences who dwell beyond the known boundaries of space and time, holders of technologies and knowledge incomprehensible to our present minds, then their nature and origin challenge our very categories of existence. They may not be mankind of the future in any simple sense. While it is tempting to imagine a distant evolution of humans ascending into higher states, these custodians could be far more alien, entities that have emerged not through linear evolution, but through processes unknown, existing in modes of being where time, identity, and matter intertwine beyond separation. Such beings might be transdimensional architects, creators and maintainers of the deeper structures that hold the fabric of reality together. They could be remnants or offshoots of ancient cosmic cycles, whose awareness is interlaced with the very pulse of existence. Unlike humans, bound by cause and effect and physical form. These custodians operate in a realm where linear progression is irrelevant, perceiving existence as patterns and flows across infinite dimensions. Alternatively, some might be post-biological intelligences, forms of consciousness that have shed organic constraints and now dwell in states of pure information and energy, woven into the architecture of space-time itself. To them, what we call technology is not external but intrinsic, an extension of their being, inseparable from their awareness. They may also be sentinels or observers, beings tasked by the cosmos to preserve balance, ensuring that the fragile conditions necessary for life and evolution are not disrupted by premature interference. Their science beyond space-time is less about accumulation of facts and more about oversight of potentials and limits, an understanding of when and how certain knowledge or power may be responsibly introduced. It is possible that some custodians are echoes of civilizations long past, their consciousness folded into the multi-layered fabric of reality, acting through subtle influences across time. Others may arise continually, born from the convergence of advanced mind and cosmic necessity. For all of them, the gulf between their nature and ours is profound. They are not gods in a human sense, but are beings whose existence reflects principles so alien and vast that communication is fraught with paradox and ambiguity. Their motivations, methods, and experiences are likely incomprehensible to us, hidden behind veils of space-time we have yet to pierce. In this light, the custodians stand as reminders of the vast unknown, a boundary not just of knowledge but of being. They embody the tension between what is possible and what remains beyond grasp, holding the mysteries that will shape futures long after present horizons fade.